Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. 5 alien empires laughed at human tech until our battleship appeared. Ambassador Nikolai Volkov adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform as he gazed through the viewport of the diplomatic shuttle. The massive space station, Concordia, loomed ahead, a sprawling metropolis of gleaming metal and crystalline structures spinning majestically against the backdrop of a purple nebula. This neutral territory served as the gathering place for the Galactic Confederation's centennial military exhibition. "Nervous, Ambassador?" asked Captain Fernanda Torres, commander of their escort vessel. Unlike Volkov's ornate diplomatic attire, she wore a simple black uniform with minimal insignia. "Not nervous," Volkov replied with a slight smile, "just realistic about our reception." The invitation had arrived 6 months ago, humanity's first official summons to participate in the Confederation's prestigious military showcase. After 70 years of faster-than-light travel capability, Earth had finally gained enough recognition to warrant inclusion. Many in the United Earth government had debated whether to accept. "Remember the strategy," Torres said quietly, "let them underestimate us." Volkov nodded as the shuttle docked with a soft metallic thud. Everyone knows their role. The reception area bustled with representatives from dozens of spacefaring civilizations, but 5 delegations commanded the most attention. These were the Confederation's military giants, species whose battle fleets dominated galactic politics for millennia. "Ambassador Volkov of Earth," announced the station's AI in a melodious voice that echoed through the chamber. Conversations paused momentarily as eyes, optical sensors, and other sensory organs turned toward the human delegation. A tall figure approached, moving with fluid grace despite standing nearly 8 feet tall. Admiral Helix of the Draconian Imperium inclined his scaled head slightly, his serpentine features arranged in what might have been amusement. "The humans have arrived," Helix announced, his voice carrying across the hall. "How quaint." "Admiral Helix," Volkov bowed respectfully, "Earth appreciates the invitation." "Yes, well, tradition dictates that any species with rudimentary interstellar capabilities must be included," Helix replied. "Though I wonder what exactly you hope to contribute to the exhibition." Before Volkov could respond, a rumbling voice interrupted as General Cragg of the Ursan Dominion joined them. The bear-like alien's massive frame dwarfed even Helix's impressive stature. "Perhaps they'll show us their primitive fusion drives," Cragg laughed, the sound like stones grinding together. "Or those charming chemical propellant weapons they still use on their colony worlds." Volkov maintained his diplomatic smile. "We look forward to learning from the Confederation's more established members." "Learning is good," chimed a melodic voice as High Commander Lumina of the Ethereal Collective glided toward them. Her translucent body seemed to shimmer with internal light, though some students require more instruction than others. The gathering was soon joined by the remaining military leaders, Director Nexus of the Mechanoid Concordance, whose robotic form hummed with quiet efficiency, and Overseer Tyrex of the Hiveswarm Coalition, whose insectoid features clicked and twitched as he communicated. "The exhibition begins tomorrow," Nexus stated, optical sensors focusing on Volkov. "Our vessel, the Algorithm, will demonstrate autonomous combat systems that can predict and neutralize threats before they materialize. The Swarmother will showcase our coordinated strike capabilities," Tyrex clicked. 10,000 drones acting as one mind, one weapon. "The ethereal veil can become completely incorporeal," Lumina added serenely. "No weapon can harm what cannot be touched." Helix smiled, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. "And my eternal flame carries enough firepower to reduce a small moon to cosmic dust." "Not to be outdone," rumbled Cragg. "The Ursan fortress possesses shields that have never been breached in 9 centuries of conflict." The 5 leaders looked expectantly at Volkov, who merely sipped his drink. "Earth looks forward to all these impressive demonstrations." "And what will Earth be showing us?" pressed Helix. "Our vessel is still en route," Volkov replied. "It will arrive tomorrow just before our scheduled presentation." Nexus's mechanical features remained fixed, but his tone conveyed skepticism. "Your ship is late." "Not late," Captain Torres interjected quietly. "Precisely on schedule." "Does it have a name, this human vessel?" asked Lumina. "The UAS Prometheus," Volkov answered. Tyrex's mandibles clicked rapidly, the hive swarm equivalent of laughter. Named after your mythological figure who stole fire from gods, ambitious symbolism for a species barely out of its stellar cradle. Sometimes the young have fresh perspectives to offer, Volkov replied diplomatically. As the reception continued, the human delegation endured increasingly thinly veiled condescension. The five military leaders moved among their respective entourages, occasionally casting glances toward the humans that ranged from amusement to pity. Later, in their private quarters, Tors activated a series of counter-surveillance measures before speaking. They're exactly as arrogant as intelligence suggested. Volkov loosened his formal collar. Thousands of years of technological superiority will do that. Did you notice how they competed to outdo each other? None of them see us as anything but an afterthought. Perfect, Tors said with a grim smile. Operation Watershed is proceeding exactly as planned. Volkov nodded. Admiral Petrov is maintaining position at the designated coordinates. Yes, the Prometheus remains undetected, running silent with all stealth systems engaged. We're ready for tomorrow's introduction. And the technical team. Commander Hassan and Chief Engineer Radek are preparing the final calibrations for the demonstration. All systems are green. Volkov gazed out the viewport at the assembled alien fleets, graceful, beautiful vessels whose sleek designs belied their destructive capabilities. Each represented centuries of technological evolution and military doctrine. Humanity has been lucky, he said quietly. We've had 70 years to observe, to learn, to prepare, all while they dismissed us as primitives barely worth monitoring. Not luck, Tors corrected. Strategy. The concealment directive was controversial, but the Security Council was right. Better to appear weak until we're ready. And now we're ready, Volkov confirmed. Tor's communication device chimed softly. She checked the message and smiled. Admiral Petrov reports the Prometheus has completed final systems check. All weapons platforms operational, defensive matrices at optimal configuration. Good, Volkov said. Tomorrow the five powers learn that humanity's technological development didn't stop where they think it did. They expect a shuttle, Tors mused, something small and unimpressive. They'll get something else entirely, Volkov replied. As night cycle fell across the station, discussions continued among the five military leaders in a private lounge. These humans, General Cragg growled, they act strangely confident for a species whose greatest achievement is a handful of colony worlds in their home system. Their behavior doesn't match our intelligence reports, Nexus observed. Logic suggests either deception or delusion. Their ambassador speaks like someone holding cards they have not yet revealed, Lumina noted. Impossible, Helix dismissed. Our monitoring stations would have detected any significant technological breakthroughs. Human military vessels use rudimentary fusion drives and projectile weapons, barely a step above their fossil fuel era. Perhaps, Tyrex clicked thoughtfully, we should consider their history more carefully. Humans developed from apex predators on a highly competitive world. Their recorded history contains over 15,000 distinct conflicts. Barbarians, scoffed Cragg. Efficient barbarians, corrected Nexus. Their rate of technological development since discovering nuclear fission has been 312% faster than galactic average. Lumina's luminescence dimmed slightly. There is something in the human ambassador's eyes that troubles me, not fear, not awe, but anticipation. Regardless, Helix concluded, tomorrow they will take their place as the newest, most junior members of the Confederation. Let them show their simple vessel. Let them learn how far they still have to go. In their quarters, Volkov received one final message before retiring. It contained just 4 words from Admiral Petrov. The thunder is ready. Volkov smiled as he encrypted and deleted the message. Tomorrow, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift forever, and none of the 5 powers had any idea what was coming. The main exhibition hall of Concordia Station hummed with anticipation. Representatives from over 40 spacefaring civilizations filled the tiered seating arranged around a massive holographic display. At the front, in special elevated positions, sat the 5 military leaders and their senior officers. Ambassador Volkov and Captain Tors entered precisely on schedule, taking their assigned seats, notably smaller and positioned lower than the 5 powers delegations. The subtle hierarchy wasn't lost on Volkov, who merely smiled politely at the arrangement. "Welcome to the Centennial Military Exhibition," announced moderator Janus, a member of the ancient arbitrator species who served as the Confederation's neutral mediators. Their crystalline form refracted light as they spoke. For 10,000 years, this gathering has showcased the pinnacle of defensive technologies, ensuring peace through mutual understanding of capabilities. The ceremony proceeded with each of the five powers demonstrating their vessels in turn. The holographic display came alive with Admiral Helix's Eternal Flame, a sleek, predatory ship whose weapon systems vaporized a series of asteroids positioned for the demonstration. 30 exajoules of directed energy, Helix announced proudly. No shield can withstand such focused destruction. Next came General Craig's Urson Fortress, a massive, brutalist structure that absorbed punishing impacts from test weapons without showing so much as a power fluctuation. Our phase-shifted quantum barriers can withstand the direct impact of a small moon, Craig boasted. The fortress has never retreated from battle. The ethereal veil shimmered into partial transparency as High Commander Lumina demonstrated its unique defensive capabilities. Partial dimensional shifting, she explained serenely. When fully engaged, all matter passes harmlessly through our vessel. Director Nexus showcased the algorithm's predictive combat systems, demonstrating how the ship could calculate enemy movements and fire solutions before the opposing vessels had even begun to maneuver. The algorithm processes combat variables at a rate of 1018 calculations per second, Nexus stated. It has never been defeated in simulated combat. Finally, Overseer Tyrex's Swarmother released thousands of synchronized drones that formed complex attack patterns, overwhelming target defense systems through sheer coordination and numbers. The collective mind cannot be countered by conventional tactics, Tyrex clicked proudly. Where one drone fails, 10,000 adapt. After enthusiastic applause for the 5 demonstrations, moderator Janus turned to the human delegation. Ambassador Volkov, Earth may now present its contribution to the exhibition. A murmur of polite yet condescending anticipation rippled through the audience. Volkov stood, straightening his diplomatic uniform. "Thank you, moderator Janus." His voice carried clearly through the hall. "Earth appreciates the opportunity to join this historic tradition." Admiral Helix leaned forward, scales gleaming under the chamber's lights. "I don't see your vessel on our sensors, Ambassador. Has there been a delay?" "No delay, Admiral," Volkov replied calmly. "The UES Prometheus has maintained position at the exhibition's outer marker, as instructed." "Our sensors detect nothing at the marker coordinates," Director Nexus interjected, mechanical features rigid with confusion. "That's correct," Captain Torres said, standing beside Volkov. "The Prometheus has been operating under full stealth protocols since its arrival 6 hours ago." Shock rippled through the 5 delegations. Overlapping exclamations filled the chamber. "Impossible. No species can mask their signature completely. Our sensors would have detected even minimal emissions." Moderator Janus raised their crystalline arms, restoring order. "Ambassador Volkov, please clarify. Are you stating that a human vessel has been present but undetected by the Confederation's most advanced sensor arrays?" "That is correct, moderator," Volkov confirmed. "Captain Torres, you may signal the Prometheus to disengage stealth systems." Torres touched her communication device. "Admiral Petrov, you are cleared to reveal the Prometheus." The main holographic display flickered as station sensors registered something materializing at the outer marker. Initially, the readings confused the automated systems, which tried to recalibrate multiple times. Then, as full visualization stabilized, a stunned silence fell over the exhibition hall. Where expectations had been for a modest vessel perhaps twice the size of a standard shuttle, the Prometheus revealed itself as a colossus. The ship defied conventional design philosophies seen throughout the Confederation. Instead of the sleek, artistic aesthetics preferred by most spacefaring races, the Prometheus presented harsh, angular geometries with layered armor plating. Most shocking was its scale. Initial measurements suggested it was nearly 3 times larger than General Craig's Urson Fortress, previously considered the largest military vessel in the galaxy. "By the cosmic void," whispered High Commander Lumina, her luminescence flickering with shock. Admiral Helix stood abruptly. This is some form of visual deception, he declared. No species with only 70 years of FTL capability could construct a vessel of this magnitude. I assure you, Admiral, the Prometheus is quite real, Volkov replied. 112 kilometers in length with a displacement of approximately 890 million tons. Impossible, General Cragg slammed his massive fist down. The resource requirements alone would exhaust your entire system's industrial capacity. Our industrial capacity is significantly greater than your intelligence suggests, Torres stated matter-of-factly. The Prometheus is the flagship of Earth's deep space fleet, but certainly not our only vessel of this class. The holographic display zoomed in on various sections of the massive human ship, revealing weapon emplacements, hangar bays, and defensive systems unlike anything the Confederation had encountered. What you see before you, Volkov continued, represents the culmination of humanity's dedicated military research program. While we've maintained a public facade of limited technological development, Earth's Security Directive authorized the secret construction of a deep space defense fleet beginning 40 years ago. Director Nexus's mechanical form had gone completely still, processing algorithms struggling with the new data. Your energy signature, how did you mask it? Dimensional folding technology, Torres explained. The Prometheus exists partially in subspace while in stealth configuration, making conventional detection impossible. Station alarms suddenly blared as automated defense systems registered the human vessel as a potential threat. Force fields activated throughout the exhibition hall as computer systems calculated the destructive potential of the Prometheus. Please disengage your defensive alerts, Volkov requested calmly. We come in peace and friendship. Moderator Janus conferred urgently with station security before overriding the automated systems. The station's threat assessment algorithms have categorized your vessel as a potential planet killer, they explained, crystalline form vibrating with concern. An accurate assessment, Volkov acknowledged. Though we have no hostile intentions, the Prometheus was designed as a deterrent. A deterrent, Overseer Tyrex's mandibles clicked rapidly. Against what threat could possibly require such overwhelming force? Volkov's expression grew serious. History has taught humanity harsh lessons about unpreparedness. We developed the Prometheus not because we anticipated specific threats, but because we refused to be vulnerable to any potential threat. The 5 military leaders exchanged troubled glances. Their carefully maintained balance of power, based on mutually understood capabilities, had been suddenly and dramatically disrupted. With your permission, Torres addressed moderator Janus, Admiral Petrov would like to invite the 5 military leaders aboard the Prometheus for a detailed tour. We believe transparency is the best foundation for mutual trust. After a momentary hesitation, Admiral Helix nodded. I accept the invitation. One by one, the other leaders concurred, curiosity overcoming their initial shock and suspicion. As arrangements were made for transport to the human vessel, Ambassador Volkov observed the ripple effects already spreading through the exhibition hall. Representatives from smaller powers were huddled in urgent conversation. The Galactic Order, stable for millennia, had been upended in minutes. Phase 1 complete, Torres whispered. And Phase 2, asked Volkov. Begins the moment they step aboard, Torres replied with a slight smile. Admiral Petrov has prepared quite an educational experience. As their shuttle departed for the Prometheus, Volkov caught fragments of conversation from the 5 leaders seated nearby. Impossible to conceal such technological advancement. Miscalculated their industrial capacity severely. What else might they be hiding? The balance of power was shifting before his eyes. For centuries, humanity had been dismissed as a minor species barely worth diplomatic consideration. That perception had just been shattered forever exactly as planned. The diplomatic shuttle approached the UES Prometheus, giving the 5 military leaders their first close-up view of humanity's flagship. What had appeared imposing on holographic displays proved even more overwhelming in person. The massive vessel dwarfed their approach, its angular hull extending beyond the shuttle's viewport in all directions. Your construction method is unusual, General Cragg observed, breaking the tense silence. Most space-faring civilizations favor curved architectures to distribute structural stress. Captain Torres nodded. Human engineering often prioritizes redundancy over elegance. The Prometheus's geometric design allows for compartmentalization and modular replacement of damaged sections during combat. The shuttle entered a cavernous docking bay that could have comfortably housed any of the 5 leaders' personal vessels. Inside, perfect order reigned. Smaller craft fighters, bombers, and utility vehicles were arranged in precise formations. Military personnel moved with disciplined efficiency, barely glancing at the arriving diplomatic party. Admiral Petrov waited at the disembarkation point, a tall, weathered woman whose silver hair was trimmed to regulation length. She wore a simple black uniform distinguished only by subtle rank insignia. "Welcome aboard the Prometheus," she greeted them with a formal salute. "I'm Admiral Irina Petrov, commanding officer. We've prepared a comprehensive tour of our vessel." High Commander Lumina's luminescence pulsed with curiosity. "Your crew seems remarkably unconcerned by our presence, Admiral. Most species would consider foreign military leaders a significant security risk." "The Prometheus has 32,000 personnel aboard, Commander," Petrov replied. "Each has undergone extensive psychological screening and conditioning against information extraction techniques, including empathic and telepathic methods." Lumina's glow dimmed perceptibly. The ethereal collective's reputation for subtle mind probing was apparently not as secret as they believed. The tour began with the vessel's command center, a vast, multi-tiered operation hub where hundreds of officers monitored every aspect of the ship's systems. Unlike the colorful holographic interfaces used by Confederation vessels, the human workstations featured practical, streamlined designs with redundant physical controls backing up digital systems. "Your technology appears primitive," Director Nexus observed, mechanical sensors analyzing the command consoles. "Appearance can be deceiving," Petrov responded. "We've found that holographic-only interfaces create unnecessary vulnerabilities during combat situations. Every system aboard the Prometheus can be operated manually if required." As they moved deeper into the ship, the scale of humanity's achievement became increasingly apparent. Engineering sections revealed massive fusion reactors supplemented by what Petrov described as zero-point energy extractors. Technology the Confederation had theorized but never successfully implemented. "Impossible," Admiral Helix muttered, scales flushing dark with agitation. "Zero-point extraction requires mathematical models beyond your species' development timeline." Chief Engineer Victor Radek, who had joined the tour, smiled slightly. "We solved the quantum instability issues 28 years ago, Admiral. The Barnard-Higgs compensation algorithm was quite revolutionary, though admittedly, we lost 3 research stations before perfecting it." The Weapons Control Center silenced all remaining skepticism. Row upon row of targeting specialists monitored systems that made the visitors' most destructive technologies seem almost primitive by comparison. "Gravity lance emplacements," explained Weapons Officer Diane Jackson, gesturing to one section. "They create localized singularities within enemy vessels, essentially miniature black holes that tear ships apart from the inside." "And these?" asked Overseer Tyrex, mandibles twitching nervously as he indicated another weapons system. "Dimensional phase disruptors," Jackson replied. "They target the quantum structure of matter itself, particularly effective against your ethereal veil's phase-shifting technology, Commander Lumina." The ethereal leader's luminescence flickered with alarm. "You've developed countermeasures specifically against our defensive capabilities." "Against all known defensive systems," Petrov confirmed calmly. "The Prometheus was designed to prevail against any potential threat, known or theoretical." The medical bay revealed another shocking advancement: regeneration chambers capable of repairing catastrophic injuries and specialized neural interfaces that could temporarily transfer consciousness if a crew member's body was beyond immediate repair. "Your approach to warfare is comprehensive," General Cragg acknowledged grudgingly. "Humanity has experienced over 15,000 recorded conflicts throughout our history," Ambassador Volkov explained. "We've learned that survival often depends on anticipating not just your enemy's current capabilities, but what they might develop next." The fabrication facilities demonstrated how the Prometheus could manufacture replacement components, weapons, even entire support craft using raw materials harvested from asteroidal bodies. The ship was designed for extended deployments measured in decades, not years. As they entered a secured section marked Tactical Research, Admiral Helix's patience finally broke. "Enough pretense," he hissed. "No species develops this level of technology in mere decades. You've either stolen these advancements or received outside assistance." Admiral Petrov regarded him calmly. "Neither, Admiral Helix. Humanity simply approached space development differently than the Confederation. While you've spent millennia in gradual, steady progress, we compressed our advancement timeline through necessity." "Explain," demanded Director Nexus. "When we achieved our first crewed spaceflight, we detected long-range transmissions from Confederation outposts," Petrov revealed. "Our first contact with alien life wasn't diplomatic, it was eavesdropping. We discovered not only that we weren't alone, but that we were surrounded by civilizations thousands of years more advanced." "So you accelerated your development out of fear," Lumina surmised. "Out of prudence," Volkov corrected. "Our history taught us that technological disparities often lead to subjugation or extinction for the less advanced society. Earth unified under a single directive, achieved technological parity before revealing our true capabilities." "The concealment doctrine," Torres added. "While our public-facing technology remained modest, our classified programs made exponential leaps, particularly in military applications." In the Tactical Research Center, they observed simulations of combat scenarios featuring vessels from each of the 5 powers, with disturbing accuracy in the technical specifications. "You've been studying us," Overseer Tyrex clicked in agitation. "Thoroughly," Petrov confirmed. "Every diplomatic exchange, every trade mission, every cultural delegation provided opportunities to gather intelligence. Your civilizations are remarkably open with your technical specifications when you believe you're dealing with a primitive species incapable of understanding or replicating your advancements." The tour concluded at an observation lounge overlooking the vast expanse of space. Through specialized viewing ports, they could see the Confederation station and the assembled fleet in the distance, all dwarfed by the Prometheus's massive hull stretching out before them. "There's one more thing you should know," Volkov said as refreshments were served by silent attendants. "The Prometheus is one of 17 vessels in its class currently in service. We have 32 additional capital ships of various specialized designs, along with hundreds of support vessels." The 5 leaders absorbed this information in stunned silence. The military balance that had stabilized the Confederation for millennia had been irrevocably altered. "Why reveal yourselves now?" asked General Cragg finally. "You could have continued your deception for decades more." "Because concealment has served its purpose," Volkov replied. "Humanity now seeks full integration into the galactic community as equals, not as primitives to be patronized or potential conquests to be evaluated." "You must understand our concern," Admiral Helix said carefully. "Your species has demonstrated a capacity for deception and military development that is unprecedented." "Your concern is noted," Petrov replied, "and perhaps valuable as a learning experience. The Confederation has grown comfortable in its assumptions about technological development and species capability. Consider this a reminder that the galaxy still holds surprises." As they prepared to return to the station, High Commander Lumina approached Ambassador Volkov privately. "There will be consequences to this revelation," she warned, her luminescence pulsing slowly. "The balance of power doesn't shift without friction." "We're prepared for the adjustment period," Volkov assured her. "Humanity doesn't seek dominance, only respect and security." "Those often look similar from the outside," Lumina observed before gliding away. Aboard the shuttle returning to Concordia Station, the 5 military leaders sat in uncharacteristic silence, each processing the implications of what they had witnessed. Their millennia of unchallenged supremacy had ended not with conflict, but with a diplomatic tour that revealed how thoroughly they had underestimated humanity. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the revelation of the UES Prometheus, an emergency session of the Galactic Confederation's High Council convened aboard Concordia Station. The cavernous Grand Chamber, normally used only for ceremonial functions, had been hastily converted to accommodate representatives from all member species. At the center, a special diplomatic table had been installed where the 5 military leaders sat opposite Ambassador Volkov and his delegation. Chancellor DeVex of the arbitrators called the session to order, their crystalline form refracting light across the chamber. This emergency session addresses the significant revelations concerning Earth's previously undisclosed military capabilities, they announced. Such a dramatic shift in the known balance of power requires careful consideration. Admiral Helix spoke first, his scaled features composed but tense. The Draconian Imperium formally protests humanity's deception. For 70 years, Earth has presented a false front while secretly developing military technology that threatens the stability of the Confederation. The Ursan Dominion seconds this protest, General Cragg rumbled. Technological transparency is the foundation of our mutual security framework. Ambassador Volkov remained calm as accusations mounted. When the five leaders had finished, he stood, straightening his formal diplomatic attire. Earth acknowledges your concerns, he began. However, I must clarify several points. First, Earth never signed the Technological Transparency Treaty as we were not invited to join those accords. Second, we have violated no Confederation laws or regulations. We simply developed our capabilities privately, as is our sovereign right. Private development is expected, Director Nexus countered, mechanical features rigid. Systematic deception is not. Was it deception, Volkov asked, or simply your assumption that a younger species must be technologically inferior? Did any of you ever simply ask what our true capabilities were? Uncomfortable silence followed this question. High Commander Lumina's luminescence pulsed softly. The issue is not just the capabilities themselves, but the implications. The Prometheus and its sister ships represent a military force comparable to the combined fleets of the five established powers. This fundamentally alters our security calculations. As it was meant to, Captain Torres interjected. Earth developed these vessels precisely because we understood our vulnerability as newcomers to a galaxy dominated by established powers with millennia of advancement. Chancellor Devex raised a crystalline hand for order. Perhaps we should address practical considerations. Ambassador Volkov, what does Earth seek now that it has revealed its true capabilities? Full membership in the Confederation, Volkov replied promptly. Equal standing on all councils, unrestricted trade rights, and recognition of Earth's territorial sovereignty over our solar system and established colony worlds. That would elevate humanity instantly to first-tier status, protested Admiral Helix. Species typically undergo centuries of probationary membership before such privileges are granted. Those traditions evolved when power disparities were clear, Volkov countered. The reality has changed. Earth offers peaceful cooperation, cultural exchange, and mutual defense partnerships, but as equals, not as subordinates. General Cragg slammed his massive paw on the table. This is nothing short of diplomatic coercion backed by military threat. No threats have been made, Volkov replied evenly. Earth's fleet remains in defensive posture only. We merely insist that our standing reflect reality rather than outdated assumptions. The debate raged for hours, with representatives from smaller powers increasingly vocal as proceedings continued. Many expressed alarm at humanity's concealed development, while others, particularly those who had suffered under the five powers' hegemony, showed cautious enthusiasm for a potential counterbalance. During a brief recess, Admiral Petrov joined Volkov in a private consultation room. The session is proceeding as anticipated, she observed. The five powers are performing exactly as game theory predicted, initial outrage giving way to strategic calculation. Volkov nodded. Director Nexus has already dispatched coded communications to the mechanoid homeworld. I suspect they're recalibrating their diplomatic approach. And Lumina has been unusually quiet during the more heated exchanges, Petrov noted. The ethereals are adapting fastest to the new reality. When the session resumed, a subtle shift in tone was evident. High Commander Lumina spoke first, her luminescence steady and controlled. The ethereal collective proposes a compromise, she announced. Earth clearly possesses the technological capability and military presence to warrant first-tier membership. Rather than prolonged dispute, we should acknowledge this reality and establish appropriate protocols for integration. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the chamber. The collective's position is pragmatic, Lumina continued. Denying Earth's evident capability serves no constructive purpose. Instead, we should focus on establishing mutual security guarantees and transparent communication channels moving forward. Director Nexus inclined his mechanical form slightly. The mechanoid concordance concurs with this assessment. Probability calculations indicate that cooperative integration offers superior outcomes to prolonged opposition. One by one, the remaining powers adjusted their positions, not with enthusiasm, but with calculated pragmatism. Only General Cragg maintained rigid opposition, until Admiral Helix leaned over and whispered something that made the Ursan leader's fur bristle before he grudgingly modified his stance. By session's end, a framework agreement had been established. Earth would receive provisional first-tier membership, subject to inspection protocols for its military installations and formal commitments to non-aggression. In exchange, humanity would share certain technological innovations in non-military sectors and participate in a newly established Security Coordination Council. As the delegates dispersed, Admiral Petrov joined Captain Torres at a viewport overlooking the station's exterior. In the distance, the massive silhouette of the Prometheus remained visible, a physical reminder of humanity's new status. Operation Watershed is officially complete, Petrov noted quietly. Outcome assessment. Successful beyond projections, Torres replied. The five powers accommodated faster than even our optimistic models predicted. Cultural adaptation to power shifts appears more flexible than historical analysis suggested. They're pragmatists, Petrov observed. They recognize that opposing us directly would be costly, perhaps prohibitively so. Torres nodded. And now the real work begins, building genuine relationships from this manufactured position of strength. Across the station, Ambassador Volkov engaged in what appeared to be casual conversation with High Commander Lumina in one of the botanical gardens. Your species continues to surprise us, Lumina acknowledged, her form casting gentle light on the exotic plants surrounding them. Few would have the patience to execute such a long-term strategic deception. Or the necessity, Volkov replied. Earth's history taught us harsh lessons about power imbalances. You mentioned 15,000 conflicts, Lumina noted. Such experience shapes perspective in ways peaceful evolution cannot. The ethereal collective required nearly 10,000 years to develop our current diplomatic philosophies. Humanity compressed its development timeline in many ways, Volkov said. Not always to our benefit. We hope to learn patience and perspective from older civilizations like yours. Lumina's luminescence pulsed thoughtfully. There is something you should know, Ambassador. The five powers have never been as unified as we appeared. Our public cooperation masked millennia of subtle competition and occasional conflict. We suspected as much, Volkov admitted. Your revelation has not just changed humanity's position in the Confederation, Lumina continued. It has altered the dynamics among the established powers as well. New alliances are already forming. Some see humans as potential partners against longtime rivals. And you, Commander, how do the Ethereals view humanity's emergence? As inevitable, she replied simply. The galaxy's history is written in cycles of rising and falling influences. We Ethereals have witnessed dozens of emergent species over our long history. Those who adapt to changing circumstances survive. Those who resist do not. As Volkov departed the garden, his secure communication device vibrated with an encrypted message from Earth's Security Council. Watershed complete. Commence phase Aurora. Volkov smiled slightly. The revelation of humanity's military capabilities had been merely the first step in a much longer strategic plan. Having gained a seat at the table through strength, Earth could now pursue its genuine objective, building a more equitable galactic order where technological disparity no longer determined a species' rights or security. The five powers had learned an important lesson about underestimating younger species. What they didn't yet realize was that humanity's greatest strength wasn't the massive warships that had so shocked them. It was the strategic patience to use those ships not for conquest, but as tools to reshape a system peacefully from within. The balance of power had shifted. The galactic chess game had only just begun.